Hey everybody, what's going on? Okay, I am back with my big Calgary Expo 2024 update. I'm going to go over everything that went on at the show, how it all unfolded, who we met, who we got pictures with, or who we didn't. Lots of cool stuff happened. It was a great weekend, so tons of stuff to go over. So let's get it. So we got there Friday night and, just basically hung out in the hotel, just prepared everything for the next day. I sort of back rolled my posters I wanted signed and stuff so that when you unrolled them, they wouldn't be constantly rolling back up. Seemed to work out okay. I also did a test fitting of my 1996 Ghostface outfit. So these are a few shots I took sort of just checking it out in the washroom. I just had my daughter snap a few shots and get some side shots because I had my ball cap with me and I would just spin it around backwards and I wanted to make sure it didn't make the hood look weird, and actually it looks pretty good. So I was happy with that. So I actually decided not to take my original Gen 1 Fearsome Faces that I bought back in '97 that I have back here on the shelf. I just figured it would be a bit more of a hassle. I didn't want anything to happen to it, of course, and it's a little harder to set up with the outfit, because you sort of have to roll the hood back and then tie the tassels, and the tassels are, there's not a lot of extra room there, and I have a pretty big head, so I have to tie a teeny little knot, and it's just more, more work, and I was more worried about losing it, so I figured I would use the Gen 2 style Fearsome back there for the outfit, which I thought did look pretty good because it is close to the original mold. It looks very similar. Ultimately, I was really happy with it. Anyway, the next morning rolls around and we head out to the grounds and get there, fairly early. VIPs I know we're allowed in as early as 9:30. So I wanted to be, parking by like 9:15, just so I knew that we would at least get a spot in the general area where we were looking to park, and that did work out. And like I said, with these little passes and stuff, it took a while to get signed in and everything, and I had to do the kids and stuff too, and you have to verify your email and a whole bunch of things you got to do before you can get in. So that did take a fair amount of time. Plus I had to go through the cosplay props check, so they could put like a little ribbon on my, the buck knife. Looks pretty good actually. But I had to go through that as well before we could get out into the floor, and then I just followed the maps all the way around to where the autograph areas were and stuff, and I thought, okay, well, why don't we see what we're looking at for autographs first, because we had some photo ops scheduled. So as you know, I mentioned before the Scream OG core group, I got a photo with them, and unfortunately Rose McGowan canceled, as I had mentioned, so she wasn't in it, but we had that scheduled for 1:20. We were in the very first grouping because I got those tickets early. So we also decided to go ahead and get a photo op with, Matt and Skeet as well, have Billy and Stu. We thought that'd be really cool. So just after I did my last video, I went ahead and booked a photo op with them. And it was well worth it, very cool. So the time slot we got for that was 2 o'clock because we were in the third grouping. So we had the 1:20 for the Scream OG, and then 2 o'clock with just Matt and Skeet. So basically we had to get through the line, do our thing, go around the whole, they sort of have these little fenced off areas where you have to go through like cattle just to get over to where you get your picture and whatever else. So in my case, we got ours framed and stuff too, so we had to wait for that and then quickly get back over to the photo op line for Matt and Skeet shortly after. So it was a bit tight having the time so close together, but the point is, because we got there, about 10 we got inside, we decided let's go and see if we can get a bunch of these autographs knocked off. so that when we go to the photo ops after that, hopefully we'll only need, you know, a couple more and then we can be on our way kind of thing, right? So the night before, I was checking out the Instagram account for the expo and whatnot, and some of the celebs, and they had already posted a few things, and there were some fan comments, and basically some of them said stuff like, boy, I hope they managed the line better, because, you know, I wasn't able to get Matt or Skeet's autograph because of their lineups or something. And I thought, oh wow, you know, like right away I thought, okay, this is going to be a good turnout. Like I thought it would be a good turnout because Scream is so popular right now, so I figured it'd be pretty good, but it sounded like it was even better than I thought. And then I saw Skeet's post on Instagram, and he has, you know, a selfie shot where he's on the stage doing that panel I was hoping to hit Friday night. That was impossible, but he's on stage like this, and everybody in the cast is with him, and you can just see the crowd behind him, and the room is just filled. It's just wall to wall people, like standing room only, right? And it said, "Thanks for showing up, Calgary," or something like that. And I thought, holy shit, so this is serious, right? So the goal was, after we got there, just after 10, let's go over to their lineups first, you know, get in line and hopefully get those out of the way, and we're not waiting, you know, all day, right? So we get there, and Matt's line is already completely, actually the lineup was like this, sort of back and forth, probably, I don't know, 7 rows, and it was stopped. So it's already like totally packed, and the attendant says to us, okay, are you wanting to line up for Matt? And I were like, yeah, you know, and she said, come back in like 5 to 10 minutes. So I thought, okay, I see they're gonna move a few and then move a few, and they'll probably do that all day. What? Okay. And I thought, well, in the meantime, why don't we just, like, Skeet's right next door, and his lineup was only, he had like a line and maybe a half at that point, so it was gonna be not too long of a wait. So we thought, okay, well, let's get in the lineup here. And so we first met Skeet, and he was awesome. The first thing I was surprised about was how good he looks in person. You know, he almost looks better in person than he did, you know, in the movie. And he's in great shape, and he's a pretty big dude. He's bigger than I thought he was. I thought he was, you know, a fairly big guy, but I know he was wearing cowboy boots, but he was probably still 6 foot or maybe just a hair over that in his boots, so he's probably pretty close to 6 foot as is, you know. And he's broad, and he's in good shape. He looks great, you know. And he was really really nice to us, and you know, the whole time we're in the lineup, we're just watching Every Girl Wants a Hug. Like, it was just crazy. Very popular with the ladies. So anyway, what was really cool about meeting Skeet is when we showed him this poster, right? He opens it up and he looks, and his reaction was just, oh wow. And then he's like, I've never seen this one before. And I'm just like, you know, I know it's no big deal, but I'm thinking, I showed Skeet Ulrich that artwork first. He had never seen it anywhere until I showed it to him. I was like, that's kind of cool. I know it's corny and means nothing, but whatever. Kind of cool. I was like, why not? So he just wondered, he's like, did you get it around here? And I said, no, it's, I got it from a fellow, I believe, in Argentina, Mariano Matos. You know, I mentioned that, but I was all like, you know how it is when you meet celebrities, you're a little bit tongue-tied, so I just sort of squeaked that out, and he's like, oh, really? Oh, wow, that's cool, you know. And he said hi to the kids and everything, and he was really personable and very, very kind. And yeah, he signed the poster for us just under his name there, and looks awesome. So the thing they were doing with the autographs, though, for pretty much all of the Scream people, is they had these little stickers that you could get for an extra $10 that would authenticate the signature. Like if you ever wanted to, you know, sell it or something, you could prove that it's really their signatures and stuff with these little stickers. And I thought, wow, $10 is totally worth it for that. And because I wasn't having mine personalized, I thought I should definitely do that, you know. Like, I'm not going there to get autographs to someday make money or something, you know me, I'm a huge fan. I'm also just thinking, you know, in the future, you know, these will probably end up being like with my kids or something, right? Or sold to other people that are into it. And if it's personalized, it's kind of pointless when I'm not around, if it's on my kid's wall, you know, or you know, if somebody else wants it and just wants to, you know, buy it off of me or something, I suppose. You know, it just makes more sense not to get it personalized. But it's really cool. They got these little stickers on the back, so I have 5 of them for all 5 of the signatures I got on this poster. So, yes, spoiler alert, I got all the signatures from the OG Scream cast. However, it was not easy to do. So after we got through Skeet's line, we sort of just went across over to Jamie, because Jamie had, I think he was talking to one other group of people. There was a couple people there, and he didn't really have much of a lineup yet. And I noticed Sean was over there. There's Sean Clark. And I'm like, oh, I gotta get him to sign my Myers mask, right? Because he is the one who got into this with Nikos to make, you know, I guess there's 100 of these things that are supposed to be going out. Sean didn't even really know that either. It's like, is it 100? Like, you could tell it's a side project he did, but without him, that mask wouldn't have been possible, so I definitely wanted to get him to sign it, so I got him to sign the inside of the neck for me. That was very cool. Meeting him was a blast. I did meet him briefly before, about 5 years ago, when he was up for the Hex Festival, but we never really chatted or anything like that much. But yeah, he was really cool, really nice guy, super polite, and just, you know, a joy to talk to. It would have been great to hang out with him and Jamie, actually, because, you know, they were doing a lot of chatting, and it really wasn't super busy then, but I didn't want to like hang around them and get, you know, whatever, just be awkward. I'm sure they would have talked anyway, because they were just hanging out, you know, but of course I didn't want to sort of feel like I was invading, so I hung out there for, you know, a couple of minutes. We talked to both Jamie and Sean. We got Jamie to sign the poster as well. The kids had a blast with them too. Like, they thought Jamie was certainly the nicest and chattiest. You know, he's one of our favorites, always has been. So I got Sean to sign the mask. I also got a couple of pictures with him right here. So that was cool meeting him. He was super personable, super nice guy. I see he had his Gutter Garbs Halloween 3 hoodie on with the amazing Tom Atkins on the back. We got to talk to Jamie for a while too, right at the same time. It was funny because he's like, how much do I get as a cut? When I asked for Sean's autograph. But yeah, that's another thing too, is I said, what do I owe you? You know, like, I'll, you know, and he's like, nothing, don't worry about it. He didn't want to charge me anything, so that was very nice of him. So yeah, we really appreciated that. But he was one of the highlights. It was great talking to him for a couple minutes there, and visiting, getting him to sign that mask, because we were talking to Jamie a little bit about, you know, where the idea came from, and Jamie's like, oh, you should have Shatner sign it. And I was like, well, yeah, if I had the opportunity, it would be really cool. But I got to get Nick to sign it, of course, too, so I don't know when Nick is coming next, but hope, that's all I can do. So right next door to Jamie is Lee Waddell. So he's the guy who played Ghostface in a lot of the original film. I believe he is most famous for being in the one at the beginning of the movie where he's running up behind Drew Barrymore and he kills her. That's Lee. He was a super nice guy too. The kids really liked him. He was very generous. You know, we got him to sign the poster, and he signed right here on the right on the knife. And he's like, yeah, I'll sign on the knife because that's my business, or something like that, or that's my thing. Yeah, I thought it was very fitting for him to sign the knife. That's pretty cool. So he signed that for us, and we were chatting a bit, and then he gave the kids these really cool bracelets that he had done up for the Calgary Expo specifically, and both of them got one. I thought that was very nice of him. And then he walked around the table and he grabbed my phone and he took a couple selfies with us, which are right here. Super nice guy. So he didn't even charge us for these photos. He was nice enough to take that he took himself. I thought it was pretty sweet. Yeah, just a great guy. You know, the kids really thought he was special as well. So he was extremely generous. Lee was also a good sized guy. I would say he's another guy who's around, he's about 6 foot tall, and he's pretty big. So That was another thing I noticed about all these people that were, you know, Ghostface in the first movie. They're all big. That's for sure. So after we got Lee's autograph, we checked Matthew Lillard's line, and it was the same thing. It was just packed, you know, and wasn't getting any less. So we thought, okay, well, why don't we try to knock off every other autograph we're looking for, and hopefully we'll only need Matt's after the photo ops. So we'll get into his line after the photo ops. Hopefully we'll get through in, you know, I don't know, hour or change or something, right? And we'll just be prepared for it, and then we can hit the road, you know. So that was the plan. So after Lee, we just walked across to the other side again where Nev Campbell was, and her lineup was fairly full too, but we could clearly see we were going to be able to get through it before we had to worry about the photo ops. So we got into her line and waited a while, and she was just so sweet. You know, we watched her meet so many different fans, and there was one that stood out as there was a man there with his little boy who was probably, I don't know, 5. And he was really shy, you know. And they met her, and he got an autograph or something, and then they were going to get a picture together, so she walks around to the front of the table so they can take a picture together. And the little boy was really shy, and he was sort of hiding away, and, you know, he didn't want to come into the picture, and Nev just handled it like a champ. She just sort of grabbed his arm and pulled him in a little and just lifted him right up and got in the picture, and he was all like nervous, and Dad was really happy, and they took this nice picture, you know. So yeah, she handled it like a pro, and we're talking, you know, it was difficult for about 5-10 seconds, and she just poof, no problem, you know. She did great. So I was impressed with how well she handled herself. And she's a good size too. I wasn't sure how teeny she'd be either. It's always weird when you're meeting these celebrities in person, but I would say she's probably about maybe 5'5" or so. She's a little taller than my daughter, probably just a little bit shorter than my wife. But yeah, she's her. She looks exactly like you'd expect, and better in person, I swear, than on camera. They just look. I found everybody pretty much looked great in person. But she was real sweet, you know. I said we're big fans, and, you know, since Party of 5 days, because I used to watch Party of 5 with my wife way back. So I remember when Scream dropped, I was like, hey, there's Nev Campbell from Party of 5. She's in this. And, you know, the trailer looks so good. I was like, that looks so awesome. I think Wes might have made another seriously good film. So, of course, fast forward to today, and you know, absolutely he did. But anyway, Nev was a blast. Super, super nice lady. And she's got a cool autograph on there as well. And she used that pink color that I thought looked great with the lighting that's around her in that particular poster. So, very cool. Okay, so after that, I was aiming to meet Lou Diamond Phillips because I really wanted to get my first Power media book or media kit signed. And did I? Let's have a look. Oh, yes, I did. There it is right there. He has an absolutely cool autograph. It looks totally awesome. So here's a good look at that. So it was funny, actually, when I first took this out and I just placed it in front of him, he just looks and he goes, oh, that movie kicked my ass. That's the first thing he said. So he just looks at it and, you know, you could tell most of the people he had been speaking to have been, you know, it's Young Guns, it's La Bamba, right? Like those big movies. But as soon as he saw this, he said, you know, like here's a different one, right? The First Power, of course. But he's like, that movie kicked my ass. And I was like, oh, really? He's like, oh, yeah, it was tough. So I said, oh, yeah, it's absolutely one of my favorites. I said, very underrated, you know, fantastic movie. And he just said, thank you so much, you know. And I said, I really wish they had done a sequel because, you know, I really would have wanted to see that. And he goes, you know, I pitched a sequel to Jordan Peele. And I'm like, really? Wow, you know? And he was like, yeah. So he didn't really elaborate, but he definitely said that he pitched a sequel to The First Power to Jordan Peele. So I thought that was an interesting bit of information. Very cool. He was very good with the kids as well. You know, like I had mentioned, you know, we love The First Power. You know, I've shown them Young Guns. Of course, they love that too. And he's like raising them right, you know. So that was pretty cool. And then I took out the double-sided poster, of course, that I have, this beautiful thing right here, and got him to sign it. So again, this is an all-original First Power poster from 1990. It's double-sided, you know, and he's got this beautiful autograph on here. I was so excited to get this thing mounted in one of my 27 by 40 frames, you know, for these typical movie poster sizes. And as I went to do it, I got some unfortunate news that the original poster is actually a 27 by 41 and will not fit in any of the large frames that I have all of my other posters in. So unfortunately, unless I want to cut it, no thanks, I'm going to have to get some kind of custom frame for it, which really sucks. So it's unfortunate it's a little bit too long. It does have that white border around it. I know technically, sure, you can trim ½ an inch at the top, ½ an inch at the bottom. Wouldn't be a big deal. Except the fact, of course, that you would be modifying an original poster. It's going to kill its value. And, you know, it's no longer original when it's been cut, right? I could fold it as well, but then I'm going to be worried about some stupid crease in it, so no thanks. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to get some kind of a custom-sized frame for that one, which is a bummer. So unfortunately, it is not going to be up for a while until I figure that out. Looking back, I would have liked to have gotten a picture with Lou Diamond Phillips. I probably should have done that. I do regret that a little bit looking back, but other factors were at play, which I will get into next. So our next stop was the photo ops. We were getting close to 120 and we knew we needed to line up soon and get ready for the Scream OG photos. Plus, we knew all of the Scream cast had just recently disappeared from their signing tables, and we knew that they were doing the ultimate photos because also, as you know, Laurie Metcalf was there, as was Dermot Mulrooney. So they were in there taking those, and I think they obviously didn't sell a ton of those because they were only in there maybe 10 minutes. And yeah, we were in the lineup just waiting for our chance to go in for the OG picture. So I'm in the lineup there, and I have the Ghostface robe on and everything all decked out. A few people were asking me for pictures, which was really cool. I wish I got their names or gave them one of my cards or something just so I could see what the photos look like, because I don't have a lot of photos from the show. But you know, I was going by the kids, and I was trying to adjust the hood, because what I did is I put a little bit of tape on top of my Velcro on that mask because it really sticks to the outfit, and I only like to use it when I absolutely have to. Hindsight, I probably should have went ahead and did it anyway, just so I knew that the hood was in the right spot. Because you can see where I'm going. I'm going to say the hood looked a little bit weird in my picture, right? Because they thought with it a little bit more forward, it looked better. I should have thought about it more, though, because I was getting a perspective from my son, who's like maybe 5'9", so he's kind of looking up at me a little, so he's sort of under the hood, and he can see the face well. But if you're sort of camera level, the hood was a little bit low in my eyes, and just right at the very top of the Ghostface eyes, so it was a little lower than I wanted. Ultimately, it still looked pretty cool. So I'm not complaining, but I do wish I had it back just another inch or so. So we were finally at the front of the curtain, and it was just about our time to go in. We go in, and we can see there's one or two that are in front of us that are sort of circling around this way, getting their shot. So as soon as we got in and put our gear down, and I turned to walk into the lineup, you could see the cast looked over towards me, and there was a reaction like, oh, like, so that was pretty cool. But we got in there, and this is what the photo ended up looking like right here. So as you can see, like I mentioned, the hood is a little bit down on my eyes, too far on the left side. Of course, that is me, and that's Lee Waddell there on the far right. In the original mask, just like in the scene where he got Casey Becker, aka Drew Barrymore. And that was cool. I had Matt and Skeet right behind me, and as you can see, big dudes. Matthew Lillard is a very tall dude, like I said. I am about 6'2", and he's clearly an inch or two taller than me. You know, like I would say he's pushing 6'4". He looked like at least as tall as David Harbour. Not quite as thick as David, but he's a big dude. So I was originally thinking maybe I shouldn't do the cosplay because Lee is already going to be dressed as Ghostface, but then I thought, well, hold on a minute though. Billy and Stu, there were two killers. There's nothing crazy about having two Ghostface in the same picture because there technically was, right? So I thought, I'm not going to worry about it because I figured it would be too scrambly to try to get the outfit on and everything in between the photo ops because, you know, as you can see, I got this frame with it here that they offer. And in order to, you know, go through your little lineup to get out of the photo op and all the way back over and to get your photo and get your thing scanned and then go over to the framing area and show that you have paid for a frame, it would take some time, and it absolutely did. So by the time we got out of there, we had to get right back into the lineup immediately, so it would have been tough trying to pull it all out and get the Ghostface outfit on like last second. So I kind of had to do it that way. So that is the OG photo right there. And for the Billy and Stu team up photo, I did not get a frame for that one, but this is a shot of that one right here. And this one was sort of a funny story because, you know, we went right back in there and we got this photo taken. And, you know, we're like, love you guys, awesome, thanks so much, blah, 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 as we're walking out. And we round the corner and quickly one of the attendants comes and grabs us and says, wait, you got glare. And I'm thinking, huh? And they said, I guess my daughter's glasses were glaring in this shot, so we had to take it again. And I was surprised they even did that. I thought you get what you get and that's it, right? So they just basically circled us right back to the lineup where we had just gone, just to come right back in. So, you know, 1 minute later, we're right in the lineup and we walk up to the beginning and they're like, you know, I'm sure they're thinking, oh, deja vu, right? I'm like, I guess there was glare. So we jumped into the photo and we took this one. And I thought, okay, I'll just get in between Billy and Stu and we'll put the kids up front, right? But it turns out everybody's so tall that you really couldn't see a lot of my outfit anyway, but it's still a very cool photo. All right, so we get through the photo ops and we're through all of that kind of stuff. And now the two bags we brought a couple of like backpacks. They were getting kind of full because I had the stuff to sign and the autograph stuff in there. I had my mask in there. And I didn't want to scrunch and bunch everything up, so that's where I had the Ghostface outfit originally, and I just put my hoodie in there and stuff. But at this point, I couldn't even think about putting the robe back in there. It would never fit. So I thought, okay, well, I'm stuck wearing this robe now. I'm just going to wear it. But I did end up ditching the mask and putting it away and stuff, and I just wore the robe. So we went right over immediately to Matthew Lillard's line as soon as we finished, and we knew he still had a couple rounds of photos to go. So we thought, well, maybe we'll get a little lucky and the lineup won't be quite as crazy because people aren't going to want to stand there and just wait for so long, right? So we got there, and no, there was enough for maybe 7 or 8 more people to fill up the very last lane before they would probably just cut it off again. And we got there, it was maybe, I'd say 2:15, because we did our second set of photos, you know, with Matt and Skeet around 2 o'clock. So it was probably 2:15, give or take. And there was a big sign that said, Matt will be back, 3 to 3:30. So we thought, oh, wow, okay. So it's at least 45 minutes, maybe an hour and 15 before he's back. So we wanted to get our spot in line though, so we lined up and we thought, wow, we're going to be waiting like up to an hour for him maybe, and then through the lineup to get through all those people, it's probably maybe another hour, so this might be a damn near 2 hours, right? And we're thinking, all right, well, it's going to be hell, but let's get through it, right? So everybody was kind of sitting on the floor and standing constantly, and these are really, really tight rows, so you don't really have much for elbow room or anything, and if you're sitting up and down, you have to just take up your little space. Plus, you got a backpack on you with posters. You don't want to smack people, so it was really tough. And unfortunately, Matt didn't show up until just after 3:30, and then he was, trying to get some food down and stuff. You could tell it was just nuts because his lineup was just out of this world crazy. It was just packed. And I guess, of course, Five Nights at Freddy's had a lot to do with that, but I forgot about Scooby-Doo, of course, because he's Shaggy, right? So there was just so many kids, and they were dressed up as characters and stuff. And, you know, Matt's a really generous, nice guy, and he takes quite a bit of time with each person. And with the kids and stuff, he's got his own camera there, and he takes photos of their, you know, them dressed up in their cool outfits and stuff, and just other fans that are dressed pretty wild and everything, right? So he was doing that, and it was taking a while. So we had waited there just over an hour already before he showed, and like I said, it was about 2:15 when we lined up, and by the time we finally got through the line, it was about 5:30. So we were there over 3 hours, and it just killed us. You know, everything was great up until that point, but that just killed us. The kids were just miserable and so uncomfortable, and we were all really hungry, and we couldn't really leave the line and come back. You know, actually, in the middle of all this happening, I was like, well, I'd like to get, you know, Laurie Metcalf to sign my Scream 2 Steelbook, and get Dermot to sign my Scream 6. And yes, I know I could have gotten, you know, Randy and, you know, Sydney and other autographs on a Scream 2 Steelbook as well, which I thought, okay, would be great to do, but of course that gets very expensive. This stuff isn't cheap, right? So I thought, well, I better not. I better just go for the autographs on the poster and settle down, because it's expensive, man. But I figured I still wanted to get Dermot's autograph, and I wanted to get Laurie's, because I figured I'm probably not going to get another chance, you know? So when we were lined up, I thought, okay, this is early on, probably, you know, by 2:30. I'm looking over there and I see, okay, they're both there right now, and their lineups aren't bad. So if I duck out of this line, I can go get them signed and just cut right back in with the kids, because we were sort of on the side. It wasn't too bad. So early on, what I did was I tried to get out of the lineup when we were sort of on the end, and I went to walk over to get Laurie's autograph. And as I stepped out of line and went around, I saw she had just gotten up from her table with her handler, helper person, and they just started walking away. So I'm like, oh wow, so they're breaking or something now. So shit, that's not going to work out. And Dermot had a couple of other people in the lineup, and I guess he was leaving right away too. It said he was going to do, I think, maybe his own photo shoot or something. But anyway, he had just left, so I was like, crap. So the timing didn't work out there. So I waited a little bit longer, and then the line started to move a little. Like, they started shuffling in more people, so we got more, like, we were in the second from the end line, I think, at this point, because they did have room for another line, and they squished everybody over. So there was no getting in and out of there anymore at that point. Like, you would have to go through a sea of people like this and try to barge through with all your shit. Like, it wasn't going to work. So I thought, we'll get what we can get, right? We'll try to get through Matt's lineup. Like, that was the most important for me, is to make sure I got his signature on there. I had the other 4 already, you know, and this is the opportunity. So wait it out and get it done, right? And it was hell. Those 3 hours were hell. So by the time we got through there, and it was 5:30, and you know, it's a 3.5 hour drive home, or 3 hour drive at least. Anyway, we knew we weren't getting home until late. The kids were completely done at that point, so we just said, okay, well, let's head out of here. You know, let's get something to eat, and you know, hit the washrooms and hit the road, right? So we didn't have time to try to wait in Dermot's lineup, and we didn't see Laurie come back yet at that point. So unfortunately, we never got to meet Laurie Metcalf or Dermot Mulroney. Dermot was right next to Lou Diamond Phillips, though. So when we were talking to Lou, the two of them were talking a little bit, and you know, he was like, I don't know, maybe 6 feet from me. So I got a good look at him, and you know, heard them talking a little bit. You know, sort of nodded and smiled when they looked over and stuff, you know, so I got close enough to him where I got to experience that. He's not a huge dude. That guy is probably, I would say, maybe 5'7", 5'8". Like, I know my son was certainly a little taller than him. So he's not a giant guy. Lou Diamond actually is a guy who's probably pushing 6 foot, because he's not short. I saw him when he was standing up behind the table, and he's probably around Skeet's height, I would say. you know, so he's pretty tall. So it was really cool meeting everybody, and everybody was so nice, and we had a blast. But man, waiting for Matthew Lillard in that lineup, holy cow, that was nuts. But yeah, we got his autograph on that poster, which I was so happy to get. So I got all 5 of them. That was cool. And then of course he took a selfie with us too. We figured we'd just go ahead and get a selfie with him because we were done at this point. We knew we weren't going to be able to get any more, and we had to hit the road. But one other really funny thing happened is when I met him, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, like I said, oh, thanks so much for the photo op, and you know, it's good to get the mask off and just you know, breathe a little better." And he's like, "It looks much better," he says, right? So he's being nice, and then he looks at me like this, and he goes, and he's pointing at my hat. He's like, and I'm thinking, oh shit, I'm wearing my Oilers hat, right? Because here I am in Calgary, and the Oilers are in the playoffs. I'm an Oilers, huge Oilers fan. Of course, I don't talk about that on the channel, but I'm wearing this hat. It's just black, right? And I wore that because it's pretty muted. I didn't want to, you know, be in your face and have my flags on my car and everything, because Calgary and Edmonton have a huge rivalry with hockey, right? So there'll be a lot of Oiler haters around, and some that love the Oilers too, but you know what I mean. Anyway, Lillard is looking at it, and he's like that, and I'm like, "Oh, you don't like the Oil, huh?" And he's like, "Boo!" like that. It was so, it was really funny. So. And then it clicked. I was like, "Holy shit! Of course, he's an LA Kings fan. He's from LA." I didn't know he was into hockey, but obviously he is. So, unfortunately, my Oilers have eliminated them from the playoffs 3 years in a row now. At the time, they weren't done, but they had just given up a 6-1 game to us the previous night on the Friday there. So I'm sure he wasn't in a good mood about it. And I thought, oh man, I didn't even think of that, you know. I thought I should have been wearing my 49ers hat. I mean, I wear that all the time in most of my videos. But yeah, I happened to be wearing this one. And I even had the 49ers hat with me. I was going to wear that under the Scream outfit because I normally do. But when I flipped the Oilers one around, I thought, well, it looks fine. It fits. And then I did those test shots where you could see from the side in the washroom with the hat on. And didn't look bad, didn't look noticeable, so I thought, what the hell, I'll just leave this one on without thinking, you know. So I think he was a little bit like, ugh, Oilers. So that was pretty funny getting that reaction. Boo! I genuinely felt a little bit bad about it. It's like, oh, I should have been wearing my Niners hat. He probably would have been supportive of that. So yeah, overall the expo was a blast. We had a lot of fun going there. Like I said, the only tough time was waiting for 3+ hours for Matthew Lillard. I mean, it was worth it. It was really cool. He was very very nice. I said to my daughter, he's like, "Are you ever cute? Look at you, right?" You know, and my son's standing there, and he's like, "Oh, you're cute too," you know, or something like that. But he said that about my daughter, so he put a smile on her face as well. But he was really nice. Meeting everybody was great. I thought Skeet was really cool. I love how, you know, he hadn't seen that poster before, and he was like, "That looks awesome," you know, like he genuinely thought it was a very cool looking poster. So that was cool. And I would say the highlight though was talking with Sean Clark. You know, like he was just wandering around the show like anybody. Most people didn't even recognize him. You know, and I thought, oh man, he's the most interesting guy here. You know, the big collector and a huge fan of his podcast with Chris and everything. He actually gave me some stickers too. I should have mentioned here. So I got one of those cool shiny ones of his new look he got by Mark Beer. There's a little bit of a crease in that one. I didn't realize I had it in my pocket. I thought I took it out, but that was pretty cool. And then of course he has the Horrors Hollow Ground sticker. That was very cool. And the Thing with Two Heads podcast sticker right here. This one is pretty badass. I love that one. So that was super nice of him to give me the stickers as well. I know a lot of people like to send the envelopes with the stamps so you can fire them out. But he's like, here, have some stickers. You know, after I said, what do I owe you? You know, I mean, and he's like, nothing. Don't worry about it. Nope, fine. He was great. I really wish I could have hung out and just picked his brain or just chatted about movies and collectibles and stuff because he's so into it. I am too, of course, on a way smaller scale. I do like to do the cosplay stuff, so I have a little different, of course, but yeah, he was great to talk to, and definitely a highlight, as well as Jamie Kennedy. I would say those two, and probably Lee Waddell there, Mr. Ghostface. They were probably the most personable, and we had, you know, the most comfort with, so I think everybody appreciated that time. But it was a blast, and I'm looking forward to next year to see what the guest list is going to be, as well as what's going to happen with the Edmonton Expo, because no one has been announced yet. But it does make me wonder now that Calgary was so successful, and I mean, it really was, like, without a doubt, they made plenty of money coming here, those boys, the Scream crew in general. I don't know how well Laurie did, or how well Dermot and stuff, because I know Dermot wasn't there for the Sunday, I guess. And Laurie's lineup, I never really saw either of them have much of a lineup. It was strays, you know, every now and then. Whereas the others all had, like, Nev had a steady lineup. Skeet's lineup got really crazy and quite big as well towards the end. And he's right next to Matt, so they're kind of feeding off each other a little bit too. So they were very, very, very busy, and I'm sure very successful show, especially for Matthew Willard as well, right? Jamie Kennedy was another one that didn't have a steady line, a lot of streamers, you know, but it's cool because he takes more time to talk with you, so I think that's what we appreciated about that. Anyway, overall it was a blast. The disappointing part was not getting Dermot's autograph or Rory Metcalf's. That would have been really cool. The timing just didn't work every time we had a chance with Laurie. Early on, had I gone to her first, I could have got it, but you know, I was getting the other ones out of the way first, and we ran out of time, you know. So that was a bit of a bummer, as well as not getting a picture with Lou Diamond Phillips. I thought I should have done that. Just went ahead and did that. It would have been cool. He looked great again for his age too. He looked good. It would be great to see the sequel to The First Power. But yeah, it was cool showing him that media kit as well. You could tell he hadn't seen one in a little while, but he had seen plenty of them before. But I'm sure I was one of the few surprising ones that was a big fan of that film. And it was, oh yeah, that kicked my ass. That was cool. Anyway, yeah, we had a blast. So that was pretty much the big summary for the Calgary Expo. I'll leave you with a couple more shots I have here from the show. I didn't get a whole heck of a lot, as you know, but yeah, we sure had a blast. So thanks so much for watching, as always, you guys, and hopefully I'll have another video for you soon on, like I mentioned before, some of those really cool ninja movies from the 80s. I wanted to do just a little video on that and show you some cool stuff I got for movie props. So anyway, that is it for now. So again, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again for another one.